Right now by Kiran Bedi. She is the former Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry. Thank you, ma'am, for joining me. And of course, your first reaction to these 3 amended bills that have been tabled in the Parliament today. How are they going to change the governance model of the country if passed?
Oh, I'm sorry, I haven't read the content of the bills yet. I haven't read, so I have no comments to offer. I'm so sorry. I think you probably were under a wrong impression. I haven't read them yet.
Okay.
However, any cleansing of politics from criminality and criminal behavior is an absolutely the need of the hour, where people in high places accused of serious crimes, including crimes on the body and person and women, I think, and even corruption. I cannot go on. See, we earlier, till charged or convicted, and then back on appeal, and then back into the system, I think has been a very major concern to the citizens of this country. So I'm not aware of the contents yet. So I'm only giving you off the cuff my remarks that yes, the country is looking forward to cleansing the political leadership of criminal conduct and even criminal proven behavior. And the fact that they sometimes go on appeal and they stay back on appeal and still come back to power. People of India have actually very little respect and regard for them. These are people who are only tolerated. They only tolerated. The fact that they've got one vote more than the other doesn't mean it becomes legitimacy and reason to continue to serve the people. Actually, they've not served the people. It's a disservice already done. So such criminal acts of people, particularly corruption, people who've been involved in rampant corruption, proven corruption, along with the bureaucrats. While the bureaucrats have gone to jail, they've come back to power. These individuals have come to power and served the government. So I think, while I don't know the contents yet, but I think it's a very welcome cleansing of the political life of this country.
Okay. How effective do you think, if this bill turns into a law, is going to be that when there is a criminal charge against an individual, against a lawmaker, any minister, and he is in jail for 30 days, he will have to let go of his position of power, he will have to step down from his role, and he could be reinstated if the trial that happens in the court of law does not convict him of the crime that he has been charged with?
I think the key is the trial, the speed of the trial. Speed of the trial, quality of the trial, opportunity to the accused also to be defended adequately and having had his say. So I would think while the natural justice will have to be observed very well, but the fact that he's got 30 days and 29 days or 31 days, the key is the trial, the quality of trial, which will matter a lot. In fact, had our trials of such cases been expeditious and day to day expeditious, and also with high content of quality evidence, we could have had a cleaner political life already. I think the problem has been both quality of investigation, then the prosecution, and then the speed of the trial. So if all the 3 are in alignment, it will make the country cleaner as far as of criminal leadership, criminal behavior leadership, particularly in corruption. When scams have been known, people have been known to have amassed a lot of wealth, having properties beyond their legitimate means. I think people know it. People know it. The fact that they've all been voted in, even one more vote that they come back to power is no major reason. So I think it's the quality of trial. I think the parliamentary committee, since the law is, these bills are going to be referred to the parliamentary committee, will sort out these actions, but the key will be judiciary.
Okay. Also, do you think if a leader, if a lawmaker, if a minister has been charged with any criminal charge or corruption charge, it becomes the moral responsibility of that leader, of that lawmaker, to step down from his position, even before being forced by the opposition? As we see, this is common occurrence. Every single time there is a minister who has been charged with corruption or any other criminal activity, the opposition continues to force the government to ask him to resign from his position. Do you think this should not be an anomaly but a norm?
It will be, because it will depend on individual to individual, and those of them who indulged in mass scale corruption or very heavy corruption, I think would not have indulged in corruption if they had their ethical values and moral values in place. In first place, that means basically they are very immune. They are not immune to such a behavior. So expecting people with such a behavior, who've already knowingly violated and only looked at their own personal self-vested interests, volunteering to resign, I think is asking too much. So therefore, it will have to be evidence and expeditious trial day to day. Not even day to day. It's like morning till evening, long hours trial, so that within a small given framework, it is known that they are convicted or they are acquitted.
Okay. Also, one more question. There have been big allegations right now that are being made by the opposition leaders, saying that this is an act, this is a ploy that has been used by the government led by the BJP to subvert the legitimacy of the non-BJP led governments in other states. If it is a BJP leader, there will be no criminal charge that will be leveled against him. But if it's a non-BJP leader, a non-BJP minister, then all central agencies will work at the behest of the BJP to ensure that there are criminal charges that are leveled against him. They may be false, but he is put behind bars. What do you have to say to that?
No, it is the judiciary which will evaluate the evidence always. And so therefore, it's evidence before the honorable courts. Lower courts, district courts, or the higher courts. It is the evidence before the courts which will speak for itself. It's not just the allegation. And therefore, investigation has to be very carefully done, minutely done. And also, according to the latest new laws, which is all forensics, and that it's technology driven. So it's speaking for itself. I think the key will be the judiciary, not the others. So number two, if the opposition is making these allegations, since the bill will be before the parliamentary committee, they could state their views, place on record, and I'm sure what is just and fair and justiciable will be picked up finally in the final draft of the law.
Okay, I do want to raise that one particular case of Arvind Kejriwal, who was behind bars while he was also serving as the chief minister of Delhi. Now, there have been no, the trial is going on, but there have been no real evidences that prove that he was actually involved in that corruption case, in the liquor scam. In such a scenario, how should the judiciary, how should the central agencies, and how is this law, if it is passed, going to work?
Little too early. I cannot comment on an individual case, but remember, whoever has been in custody over a period, long time, short time, is based on the evaluation of the evidence before the courts. Prison is considered judicial custody. It's not police custody. It's judicial custody. And only those people go to the jail whom the courts approve. The courts have evaluated, seen the evidence. So therefore, it's important that it's left to that.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Kiran Bedi, for joining me, sharing your views.